Hello and welcome everyone to Teslanomics Live. I'm your host Ben Sullins, and this is the show where we break down the biggest news in the Tesla universe from the previous week. We do it live because, well, things change quickly in the world of Tesla and Elon Musk, and we have a lot of fun stories to cover for you today. If you're watching on YouTube and you're wondering how to join the discussion, the Q&A that happens after the news ends here, you need to get on our email list at teslanomics.co/join. Doesn't cost you a thing, but that's where the invites get sent out, and we limit it to a certain number, to 100 people, because otherwise it just gets too crazy and too difficult to manage. So I want to have a good engaged discussion with everyone, but in order to make it really kind of fruitful for everyone involved, that's kind of the steps you have to go through. So if you're willing to do that, I hope to see you there in a future Q&A session. Also, after this video is done today, in the subsequent days this week, we'll be posting the individual clips, the individual stories. So if you can't sit here and watch the whole thing, you can just get the bite-sized version later on. So in any event, thank you everyone for joining me. The first story, or the first thing I want to mention today, there's a few housekeeping items and then we'll get into kind of the news. The first one is that my friends over at Fully Charged, Robert Llewellyn is the host of that, who has been a great advocate for this space for many years. They are hosting an event called Fully Charged Live. Fully Charged Live is a reading from their thing here. It's a part show, part exhibition. Fully Charged Live will benefit from some recognizable presenters, including established hosts Jonny Smith and Robert Llewellyn, as they talk to an audience of end users about the latest energy and transportation technologies. A steering committee of leading partners from across the energy and transport sectors will be working with Fully Charged team to ensure that the show is as educational and interactive as it is entertaining and exciting. So this is in the UK. This is a live event from June 9th and 10th of this year, and it is at Silverstone, which I believe is also a racetrack. So yeah, if you guys are interested, if you're in the UK or nearby or going to be there, this would probably be a cool thing to check out. I'm not sure if I'm going to go yet, but if I do end up making it out, I will absolutely let you guys know. So go check it out. I'll put a link in the description, or you can just find them at fullychargedshow.co.uk, and there's a link there on top. You can see it Fully Charged Live. So make sure to go check that out, and I hope it's a great event. Robert and Johnny and everybody, hope you guys have a blast, and we'll see. Maybe I'll join you there. Who knows? All right, next I have a favor to ask. A friend of mine, Tim, who has a channel called Everyday Astronaut, which is amazing. If you guys have seen that, he is coming to California, to Southern California, May 14th through the 21st, and is looking to borrow or rent a Model 3. He's happy to pay for it, but on Turo, people are charging $200 to $500 per night, and that's a bit outside of his budget. So I just want to give him a shout out. If you have a Model 3 and you're in the LA area and you're willing to rent it to him or just let him borrow it, whatever, I'm sure he'll help you out, give you a shout out. He has a really great YouTube channel as well. He's kind of like what I am to Tesla, but he kind of covers the space industry. So he talks a lot about SpaceX and other companies in that space. So check him out. And I hope, Tim, this works for you, helps you out. Also, you probably just like his videos, so there's that. Now, this week, I have a special video that I'm doing. Now, originally, the plan, and I'm going to put the video I did on last Friday, which, if you guys haven't seen it, I had a really great time with Wes over at Elite Finish, breaking down exactly how ceramic coating works and how to protect your Tesla and how paint and all those things, and what you can do. So that video was just published this last Friday. I was going to publish the results of that, kind of the part 2, this week. However, there's a special video that I'm working on where I'm going to be going up to San Francisco and delivering a couch, believe it or not. And so, yeah, that'll be this Friday. You get to learn more about the GoFundMe that we created, that you guys really created. It was just kind of a funny idea I had, and you guys made it a thing, but all that money is going to charity, and so I'll be talking about that this Friday, as well as my whole experience going up there. I may or may not get to meet Elon. That would be fantastic, but in any event, it's going to be a cool little story, so stay tuned this Friday for that video, and then the following week, I'll post the final version, the update to this video about the ceramic coating, including, just all the kind of car porn you could ever want for a Model 3, so stay tuned for all of that. Okay, next, the first story, the real story I want to talk about here is Tesla in China. That's not the right one. And And there we go. The first story is about Tesla bringing the Model 3 to China. And this is the first time that they've actually done it. Other people have imported the Model 3s to China, but at the Chinese Auto Show, which happened just last week, Tesla brought a Model 3. Now, this is significant because China is the biggest market in the world for electric vehicles. They just on a total number of vehicles have more than any other country in the world. Now, places like Norway and a few others have more per capita, like percentage wise, but China has the largest numbers. So if you're just thinking in terms of like a company wanting to sell electric vehicles, China is a very desirable place to be. Now, the thing about this that's super interesting, not only did they kind of steal the show at the Beijing Auto Show, but China is giving them these new rules that are going to allow them to own the factory. You see, the thing before was that you had to have the Chinese government you had to work with the Chinese company, and that Chinese company had to be owned by the Chinese government. Remember, it's still communism for like their style of government. So even though there's economic freedoms and things are obviously changing there, in terms of just like the rules of how it works, a lot of companies had a hard time with that because these other companies can steal their IP, they can start their own thing, plus not all the profits go to them, etc. There's all these different things about it. Here now, with these new rules, China will allow Tesla to build their own factory that they wholly own. This will also mean that they can stop, they won't have to pay the import duties, and they won't have to import cars at all. They'll make them there and then sell them there. And again, the world's largest EV market, this could be huge for Tesla. So there's a Bloomberg Businessweek piece that talks about this. The news, one of the things that they mentioned, which I thought was interesting, this is great news for Tesla. This is like tremendous news because we all know when Tesla's talked about they're going to be doing something in China soon, but the stock market didn't care at all about this news. And so obviously there's more going on there. And this is going to be, and I'll talk a little bit more about this. This is going to be an interesting week as the earnings call is this Wednesday. So if you look at these charts, there's some really interesting data here around just the actual size of the market and everything else. So I'm really hopeful that Tesla will be able to make this happen. I do think that Tesla's already pretty successful in China, and with the ability to build a factory there and do this, it's going to be tremendous. So I'm curious what you guys think about that. Tesla does have some cash burn issues, so there's a question here about whether or not they'll be able to do it. And this is one of the big things that I think everyone is really interested to hear more about this Wednesday during the earnings call is how bad was the net loss in Q1, and then how quickly are they going to be able to turn it around? What are the true numbers behind the Model 3 and all those kind of things? I mean, we have little tidbits here and there, but the earnings call with the financial statements will really kind of paint that picture in a clear light, and then that will make this question a much bigger, a much more concrete on whether or not it even makes sense right now, whether or not they need to raise money, or whether or not if the Model 3 truly makes them profitable in Q3, as Elon had tweeted about, will they be able to then, take that kind of goodwill, raise money? Like, what will the plans be? Hopefully this question gets asked because Tesla going after the Chinese market by building a factory there locally could really be a major win for them. In fact, their revenue from China has skyrocketed over the past few years. So I'm really excited about this. I'm curious what you guys think. This may open up other Asian markets as well. India is a big one that Tesla has talked about in the past. It's not too far. So really, really lots of questions there. I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know on Twitter or in the comments down below. Okay, next, I have a story which I'm going to call This Week in Stupid. This is, I'll read you the little bit here and I'll show you the video. This is a man in England has been banned from driving after he switched his Tesla vehicle to autopilot and moved to the passenger seat. Bhavesh Patel was on the busy M1 highway in his Tesla S60 when a passenger in a nearby vehicle was shocked to find there was no one in the driver's seat of his car. According to the police report from the Hertfordshire Constabulary, See, the English have all these cool names for things. Patel, 39, had shifted his Tesla into autopilot mode, leaving the steering wheel and foot controls unmanned before moving to the passenger seat, authorities said. On April 20th, Patel pled guilty to dangerous driving during the May 2017 incident. Not only is he disqualified from driving for 18 months, but Patel is also required to complete 100 hours of community service over a 10-day period and pay prosecution costs. That is a lot. 100 hours in 10 days. So you're working 10-hour days for 10 days straight. That's nuts, man. Kind of crazy. So here's the video. This blew my mind. And remember too that in the UK, they're on the opposite side of the road we are here. So it may look like he's in the driver's seat, but in this setting, that's actually the passenger seat. So he's in the left seat, which looks normal to us here in the US, but you see the driver's side is on the right. So he's actually sitting in there. I don't know how I didn't see this before. If this happened last May and we're just seeing it now, that's crazy to me. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to call that This Week in Stupid. Please, guys, don't be stupid with autopilot and do any of these kind of dumb things. Man, it's funny. I mean, if there were any evidence of like somebody getting hurt by something like this, the reason that mostly makes me mad is because first off, you could hurt other people, and then second off, Tesla themselves would just get totally destroyed by this in the media, regardless of what the details are. So that kind of really gets my blood boiling. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. Okay, now back to some more data, some more heavy stuff, because this is going to be a really big week in the world of Tesla, and it is all about the earnings call that's happening this Wednesday. So there are a couple things that just to think about at a high level. First is that when you're selling a ton of Model 3s, those are a significantly cheaper vehicle than the Model S and X, which means that earnings, your overall revenue, is going to be down. Now, because you're still paying a ton for the Model 3 infrastructure and getting that all set up, you're going to need to spend a lot of money as well. So I think that you kind of have both things really, really kind of working against each other here. You're making less money because you're selling a cheaper vehicle, and you're spending a lot more money to get that thing up and running with all the other, capital investments you need to make on the line and everything like that. So I think we're going to see, we already know that they have had record deliveries, but I'm guessing we're going to see poor earnings. But they still year over year is going to be great. Now, this Bloomberg Gadfly page here, which I highly recommend if you guys like data and analytics. I mean, the title of this post is Kanye Can't Save Tesla Charts. How could that be more like pulling at my heartstrings here? You've got Kanye and Tesla and charts all in the same title. That's just a win. You know it is. All right, so here you go. So they have a couple points here talking about Tesla stock and how it's dropped by about a fifth over the course of a couple months. But it goes up and down, right? Like if you see this huge drop here down to 257, and then a couple days later, it was back at 305. I think this window is... Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a little suspect, right? Because you're trying to tell a story and you chose a window. If you were to expand this out, it'd be a little bit different story. But anyways, fair point. Definitely over the past several months, we've seen a drop in the stock price. Now, the other thing is about the drop in deliveries for the S and the X. Now, the thing about this is Tesla already in Q1 started to shift deliveries out till June. So this goes to the whole point about the tax situation and whether or not they're going to actually push deliveries out far enough to where they'll hit their 200,000th car delivered in the US in Q3. If they do that, that will then be a tremendous boon for all the people that have been waiting and want that full tax rebate that we get, or that full tax credit. So I think the markets, and Bloomberg, kind of lives in that headspace, aren't really understanding Tesla's mindset about this, right? Because Elon has tweeted it before that loyalty begets loyalty, and that they will do what is right for the customer regardless of short-term earnings. And so I think we may see some of that here. Now, because of the way the markets are very kind of fickle and short-sighted and just generally self-interested and don't care about the long term, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt shareholders tremendously. And then that could lead to more turmoil. But remember, you have to think long term here about the vision, because once they're producing 5,000 Model 3s per week, it's going to be a whole different ball game. Now, there was an interesting point here on this article about them selling these zero emission vehicle credits to kind of mask these things. So that'll be interesting to see how that looks. This is your gross margin and then the credit effect. And now I know that those rules are also changing in a few states, so we'll see kind of how that affects it anyways. So all in all, I think this week is going to be a big one. A lot of people are predicting pretty bad news from the earnings standpoint. I consider these all just short-term growing pains, and that if they post a profit in Q3, which Elon has predicted, that it will all be forgiven, and all this will be kind of behind us. The big question is, can they get to the 6,000 or the 5,000 vehicles, Model 3s per week by the end of June? If they can, then I think all of these things we'll totally forget about. None of this will really matter in kind of the longevity and lifespan of Tesla. So great article. I'll put a link to this. Great work. It has kind of a short position feel to it, but I think it was well done. And again, I highly recommend subscribing to these guys' newsletter, because again, you get awesome emails like Kanye can't save Tesla charts. I think that's worth subscribing to. Okay, next I have a story from, this is from Edmunds. And Edmunds, if you don't know, I'm actually a big fan. Their true cost of ownership calculator is one of the best things out there to understand the true cost of owning a vehicle. And they've been doing some YouTube stuff lately. It's pretty cool. I didn't even know they had a channel, but these guys do a great job. Here in this video, they're comparing the Tesla Model 3 long range, kind of the early edition, with the Cadillac Super Cruise. And the Cadillac Super Cruise was just rated as the best one, but the best kind of driver assist features. Now, the big difference between them is that one is a hands-on and the other is a hands-off system. So Dan here is driving the actual the Super Cruise, the Cadillac, and this is a hands-off system where on the steering wheel, I don't know if we'll get a shot of it here, it's actually monitoring your eyeballs. He even puts glasses on and looks away, and sunglasses on and looks away, and it notices that he's looking away, and then it gives him warnings to take the wheel. Whereas, of course, the Model 3 is a hands-on system, not a hands-off. And so it's, a bit different. You don't get as much convenience because you have to keep your hands on the wheel, but you also don't have as crazy monitoring and these things as you do in this car. Now, one of the big points, you can see the map right here, is that with the Cadillac Super Cruise, it only works on certain freeways that they have mapped. Now, I think this is a good strategy, and I know that other companies are working to do this. Essentially, if you had extremely detailed maps of all the roads, then it wouldn't be that hard to kind of hard code, we would say in the programming world, how the car should drive, right? It's easy to detect objects around you. If you know exactly where the road is going, it's super straightforward. However, I don't think that's a very scalable solution. Perhaps if there were a way to automatically do this with every car on the road or something, it would work, but I'm not sure the mapping technology of like it requiring a detailed map is really a truly scalable solution. It's definitely not AI and neural networks and all the stuff that Tesla's doing. So I would say, even if it works better based on that one website rating or whatever, it's still it's less ambitious, and in the long run, not going to be nearly as valuable, as accurate, right? They're basically not doing. They're kind of masking. They're simulating the same idea of what Tesla's trying to do. Tesla's actually doing something that's pushing the boundaries. So I think it's good. I think it's great that we have these driver assist features, because I think they'll help keep us safer. But it doesn't seem like that is going to get us to fully autonomous vehicles anytime soon. Of course, in this test, the autopilot on the freeway works great, and then on surface streets it doesn't. Surprise, surprise. If you guys have tried that, you'll know that often surface streets have big bumps and sharp turns and things that are just not very it's just not very good at. And this also being an early edition Model 3, this is before they did the most recent round of upgrades to the software. So Yeah, I just wanted to talk about this video because I thought it was really well done, and it was very interesting to me to learn more about the Super Cruise, and I thought you guys would be interested in that as well. I don't really, do this as like a them versus them, anything like that, like Tesla and everyone else sucks kind of thing. I think it's great that we're all kind of working on these kind of things. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you guys haven't seen this video, I'll put a link to it because I do think it's worth watching. And obviously, Edmunds, pretty reputable brand in the auto industry and have been around for a long time, so that this is going to be high quality stuff. So they also gave me some interesting ideas about angles to shoot for my own videos coming soon. Okay, guys, that's it for the news for today. I appreciate you all for joining me. Again, if you want to be a part of the discussion we're about to have on Crowdcast, you need to get on our email list at teslanomics.co/join. It doesn't cost you a thing, but that's where we send the invites out. So